How to Code a Dark Theme with Material UI, by Snappy Web Design. Dark mode is a feature that users can't get enough of. It saves battery life, reduces eye strain, and minimizes blue light emissions. It's a simple feature that, as a developer, all else equal, will set you apart far and wide from your competition. To boot, Material UI supports dark, light themes out of the box, making it a great framework to build on. Despite this, due to dark mode's relative infancy in the web development world, there is a distinct lack of documentation and tutorials on how to actually code dark and light modes. Why this tutorial? Although there are other tutorials on the web and the documentation for Material UI is normally stout, you've probably found while researching tutorials on dark modes. Most tutorials show impractical, unorderly code that's difficult to reuse in your own project. Material UI's documentation falls short of demonstrating how to update the theme lib, and it only briefly touches on dark and light theme types. Incomplete examples lead to flashes of unstyled content, FOUC. Gatsby's server-side rendering, SSR, leads to FOUC. Here's how the final product will look and behave. Project structure. Before we dive into the code, let's first look at the project structure, which is available on Code Sandbox. You'll notice it looks similar to a typical Gatsby.js project with the exception of the theme handler, JS file. Theme handler will, handle whether to display a light or dark theme. It'll contain our useContext and useReducer functions. Gatsby-browser wraps our application with our Context.Provider. It allows our Gatsby site to have dynamic state. Gatsby-ssr serves the same purpose, wrapping our application with our Context.Provider to make it accessible everywhere in our app. It prevents flashes of unstyled content with server-side rendering. Layout is where we'll initially check the user's local storage to see if they have a previously set theme. If not, we'll set it to the default of our choosing. We'll wrap our application with our theme using the Material UI theme provider. Index does the least amount of work but the most important. It contains the button to toggle the dark, light theme and does so with an onClick function. This dispatches a function via our reducer to change the theme and sets the local storage to the user's newly preferred theme. Theme contains our 1. Base theme. Styles to be applied globally across both light and dark modes. 2. Dark theme. Styles applied when dark mode is active, and lastly, R. 3. Light theme. Containing styles to be applied when the light mode is active. If you're a visual learner, I hope that diagram gives you a mental picture of where we're headed. One of the reasons why I think this approach is the best is because it has a single source of truth. Unlike other tutorials, we only use one theme, yet we provide multiple styles. We do it by nesting our themes. We define our global styles for both light and dark modes, and then spread that across our styles for our separate light and dark themes. Now our theme is set up for us to later import it. Eventually, we'll make use of Material UI's theme provider and pass in our theme dynamically. For now, though, let's work on our theme handler. Our objective is simple: create a state value for dark mode, set it false initially, and be able to access and update our state from anywhere within our Gatsby application. For this, we make use of React's createContext, useReducer, and Context.Provider. First up, we need to import createContext and useReducer, assign a variable as our action type which we'll use in our reducer, and initialize our new context. Then, we'll create our useReducer function. Essentially, we'll be calling a function to set dark mode either true or false. The reducer is a switch statement to feed this value to our global state. Then, we'll create and export our dark mode state function. We'll set our initial state, set dark mode to false on first load, in addition to initializing our dispatch function using the reducer we just created. Lastly, we'll create our function, set dark mode, to update our state. It uses the dispatch function which feeds into our reducer's switch statement. We return our dark mode context. Provider, which makes both the dark mode state and the set dark mode function available globally across our app. Fixing Gatsby's rehydration issue. Warning: do not skip this step or you will waste hours of your life debugging. I wasted 2 days debugging flashes of unstyled content the first time I implemented dark mode. Learn from my mistakes. Because Gatsby builds pages long before they're rendered and served to the end user's web browser, we have to take a couple additional steps when using dynamic state values. You need to wrap every page with your React Use State component in Gatsby. Luckily, we can use Gatsby's built-in API via the gatsby-browser, JS and gatsby-ssr, JS files. Please visit snappywebdesign.net to read the rest of the tutorial. Thank you for your interest.